This is like the deepest interview I think I've ever done. So thank you. I think the best thing you can be is authentic. Songwriting is just, it's so weird. It feels like magic. It's almost like you're an actor and you're delivering the script. You know, if anyone ever, you know, has the idea that they want to pick up a guitar or write anything down, like they should absolutely do it, because there's something inside you that wants to come out. You should just let it come out.
Welcome back to 80 Unplugged. Today I have with me a songwriter that has spent most of his life touring. He has been featured on Now That's What I Call Music 66, has performed for thousands of people. Our studio may be the only place in the world he hasn't rocked the house down, but don't worry, that will soon be rectified. It's Altoona's own Walkney.
What's up? Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you for coming on.
This place is really cool. I enjoy it a lot so far.
That's great.
I'm a little nervous, I'm not gonna lie.
Don't be nervous. Remember, I'm more scared of you than you are of me.
Debatable.
Debatable?
Yeah.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about your view on songwriting and its place in your life and in the world?
Oh, man. Well, songwriting is something I've been doing now for, I'm not sure if my math's correct, but I guess 15-ish years. I started writing songs when I was like 14 years old. So it's been a huge part of who I am. It's not even something that I do anymore. It just is me. I mean, it's taken me all over the country, all over different places in the world, and I really can't explain how grateful I am that I get to go out into the world and play music and sing songs that I came up with and meet other people that enjoy them or introduce them to people that have never heard of it before. Songwriting, to me, and it's my place in my life, is just so vast that it's almost indescribable. It's become such a huge part of who I am, and it's allowed me to do so much that it's everything to me. Really, it is.
That's beautiful. And so personal. I love that.
Get started here. get a little less nervous. I don't know.
Well, can you tell us what song you chose for today and why?
Okay, so I chose a song called Emotion. I guess it's new to everyone else. It's not really new to me. I've had it for a while, and I'm going to be putting the song out in April. And it's a song where I really, for the first time in a while, felt like I wanted to bare my heart and just put it all out there. It's a very emotional song, and it's very unique in the way that it came about. And I just think it's a little bit different than what I've been doing, and I think kind of sets the tone for what's to come in the future, really.
Awesome. That's great. Well, for Walkney fans, you will not recognize this one because he's actually premiering it on the podcast.
Let's go.
So we're very honored. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me.
As always on 80 Unplugged, we ask an artist to perform a song and then we break down the lyrics in an exclusive interview. Without further ado, here's an acoustic performance of Walkney's song, Emotions.
Was it cold out there, away from me? The world's unfair, we all have needs. Everybody stares, everybody sees, everybody's scared, everybody bleeds. And no emotion, love's not there. We both raise voices, but your own is out there. Did I buy you time? Was it make-believe? And I know you're fine. What about me? You had me on a line. I thought that you cared when I needed mine. It was not there. And no
just pick from whichever one's better, I guess. I don't know.
All right, that was Walkney's Emotion. And that's a great song, great performance. Way to go.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's really nerve-wracking to do it in front of people for the very first time, but I think it went well.
That is so crazy that it's like your first time performing that song in front of people.
It's always weird introducing a new song into a set list or into a performance environment, because when you write a song, it goes through the phases of, it just starts with an instrumental, and you fall in love with that, and then you have to work out lyrics and vocal melodies and all that stuff, and then finally you get it to a point where it's a listenable track. And I don't know if anyone else does this, but I sometimes over listen and just crank the song again and again and again, become a huge fan of it myself, and then have to go through the process of sharing that with people. And that's really scary, because at that point the song is no longer yours, and who knows what people are going to think about it, who knows what people are going to say, and that thing that you've fallen in love with is up for interpretation or scrutiny or whatever. You never know what's going to happen with it. So I appreciate you guys letting me do it, really.
We appreciate you doing it. It's a wonderful song. When we talked before, you said your approach to songwriting has been inspired by soul and blues artists. It's not an influence I think I would pick up on, going off the sound of your music. How has that influence inspired your writing style?
Well, I think soul and blues are more than just a genre or a specific sound. I think it's kind of a feeling. I feel like, I come from an emo background. I guess emo is like the blanket term for it now. But I grew up, writing sad songs and talking about heartbreak and failure and, shortcomings. And so when I got out of my previous band and I started thinking about going solo, I actually went to a blues open mic night, and I just hopped up there and sang one of my songs, and I kind of felt like my voice fit more in that realm, because people would always tell me, oh, you have so much pain in your voice, or your songs, they just hit my heart in a certain way. So I feel like that's kind of where the influence is from. It's not so much the sound as the feeling that those types of music give people. So for me, it's really like when I write a song, obviously there's different songs. I'll write something that's campy and fun, just to kind of like, it's just, I'm having fun. I just throw as much as I can at the wall. But the songs that I've noticed that people relate to and resonate the most with are songs where I'm just putting it all out there, showing my heart completely bare. And that's, I think, where that influence of soul and blues come from, because there's certain songs I listen to or I'll just want to break down. Honestly, one of my favorite artists as of recently, they call him the king of blue-eyed soul, Michael Bolton.
I didn't know that.
the way, yeah, that's what they call him. But his voice he could sing anything, and it just hits you in a way that makes you think about something in your life. I don't even know. It's not even a material, real thing. It's just you hit this almost like spiritual kind of feeling, and that's something I've always strived for. I don't claim to be some incredible soulful vocalist or songwriter or anything, but that inspires me in a huge way, that people can connect with music like that.
Yeah, like it's like your soul's kind of touch for a second,
Yeah.
but like not in a weird way.
Yeah,
in
no,
like
not
a
in a
really
weird way.
sweet way.
Yeah, exactly. Very wholesome.
I don't know why I said that.
No, hey, we're just having fun here.
Yeah. Well, I would love to hear more about the song you performed, so let's get into the lyric breakdown.
Okay.
The first verse goes, "Was it cold out there, away from me? The world's unfair. We all have needs. Everybody stares. Everybody sees. Everybody's scared. Everybody bleeds." Could you go into your thoughts behind those lyrics?
Well, when I wrote this song, I use a bunch of different methods for songwriting. Over the years, I've been very lucky to write with a lot of incredible songwriters and, work in the studio with a bunch of different people. So there's different ways that I'll go about songwriting, but with this one, I just made an instrumental, and then I just picked up the mic and just started singing, scatting, whatever first came to me. Sometimes it comes out sounding just like mumbles, and then other times it's like a freestyle, and I am just fully saying words. And this was one of those stream of consciousness freestyle type of songs when I was writing it. So what that first verse really means to me is, it's a song about heartbreak and loss, but during the time where that heartbreak is happening, before the loss itself. It's like you're in a relationship and you're watching it deteriorate in front of you. Maybe, I mean, for me, it was a very specific situation, and I don't want to go too into detail about the person, but I was in a relationship where we were trying to make something work that both of us knew wasn't going to happen. So, was it cold out there away from me? The world's unfair. We all have needs. That part is kind of just about how everyone has stuff that they're dealing with. And then everybody stares, everybody sees, everybody's scared, everybody bleeds. That's kind of summing up the point that we all have stuff going on in our lives that hurts. And I think the kind of point of the song is that there's two individuals that are both very hurt, and they're trying to make something positive, but you can't love another person to the fullest extent if you're not loving yourself and covering your own bases and making sure that you're healing from those traumas and those things that scare you or cause you pain.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Thanks.
In previous conversations, you said that your subconscious kind of played a role in writing this song. In a prior episode with Alyssa Hankey, she said something similar by calling herself a sort of vessel for the song she writes. It sounds like you have credited your lyrics to not only yourself, but also things like your environment, your community, and possibly divine intervention. Could you elaborate?
Yeah, I definitely get down with that whole being a vessel thing. I don't think that's always the case. A lot of times, it is the ego writing a song. I'm being very specific about something that I'm feeling, me personally, but I find that when I write my best music, it's when I let go of the ego. I get into that flow state and just let whatever needs to happen come out. And I've always been a big fan of doing whatever's right for the song, so I'm very much like throwing paint at the wall a lot of the time. But there's a lot of different ways to do it, and there's a lot of different, calling yourself a vessel seems kind of crazy to someone who doesn't write songs, but there have been so many times where I've worked on a song and then I've sat back and been like, oh my goodness, like, where did this even come from? And with this song specifically, I didn't even realize what the song was about until after everything had already kind of gone down. It was just like, oh, it's a song. And then a year or so later, I'm like, oh my goodness, I was in so much pain, and my subconscious just kind of said it, was letting me know. I think that's why songwriting is so important. If anyone ever, has the idea that they want to pick up a guitar or write anything down, like, they should absolutely do it, because there's something inside you that wants to come out. You should just let it come out, really.
That's beautiful.
It's something, man. I feel so lucky to be able to be that vessel that we're talking about here.
Could you get in a little more about like what you mean by ego?
Ego. Okay. Well, I think what I mean when I'm talking about ego writing a song, so it's your personal experience. I guess how do I say this?
Can I say how I took it and then maybe
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So, I used to be like, when I used to write songs, maybe like earlier in life, I used to be kind of like, I wanted people to understand me, but not only that, I wanted them to like believe this version of me that I don't know if it was like completely real or not. So it's kind of like an ego in a way.
Yeah.
Like it's like you're projecting something that you either think of yourself that may or may not be true, or you want them to think of you better than you are.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's hard to really explain what I mean, but I think that's pretty close. I mean, because there's songs I'll write where it's like, yeah, I'm like hyping myself up, or I'm like, yeah, I was right and you were wrong, or I'm telling my perspective of the story, my personal part of the story and how I feel about it. Sometimes I feel like when you're writing from that, you let go and that subconscious comes through. It's telling the bird's eye view and saying what it really is. And sometimes it's hard to admit to yourself what's actually happening. Like in this case, I didn't want to admit that things were the way they were.
Yeah.
I wanted everything to be all sunshine and daisies. But when I let my guard down and just let myself just speak freely, and it basically told me exactly what needed to happen and what was really happening. And it's just crazy because this happened many times in my songwriting now, where I'll listen a few years later or something and I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, it was like me,
So
my
honest,
subconscious
you know, like
warning myself.
yeah.
Because your ego gets in the way. You're like, oh, I want this to be good. This is what I want. But that's not always necessarily the best thing,
Yeah.
you know?
That's awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, songwriting is just, it's so weird. It feels like magic.
Yeah.
It really
like
does.
Magic.
It
I
really
like that.
does. Yeah. Especially when you're doing it in that sense. I mean, sometimes it feels like a school project or an English exercise.
Yeah.
Right? Whenever
Sometimes it's nice to like treat it as an exercise.
yeah, it is. It helps get things done for sure. I mean, if I'm working with another artist or something like that, I'm like, all right, let's check these boxes. But for me personally, I really like to just try to get into the flow and not try to write a song. Just
Yeah.
let myself get into a rhythm, and it might take a few hours before I even get there. But when inspiration strikes, you got to just run with it. You can't be like, oh, well, I'll write that tomorrow. If I'm sitting in my or I'm like in the shower or something and I hear a melody in my head, sometimes I'm like running to the studio, or I keep a guitar on like every floor of the house, and like
There you
there's
go.
instruments everywhere. So with my voice memos,
In the shower.
I'll be like
Guitar in the shower.
jump out of the shower and run a voice memo, and like that's been the biggest asset, I think, is voice memos.
I think I heard that Lady Gaga wrote Born This Way like that. She was in the shower and she was like to her friend, she's like, get a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Like, get in here.
Sometimes it just comes to you. You know, I don't know if it's a divine intervention type of thing. I mean, that would be really cool, but I'll never know. You know, I'll never know. But it really does feel like it at times. I'm a big believer in, you know, something being out there kind of pulling the strings. And I also believe in like right place, right time. If you put yourself into a position and you really want something and you keep putting yourself into a place where things are able to happen, they'll just keep happening and it just keeps snowballing. I mean, I achieved a lot of my goals from when I was a teenager, and looking at it now, I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, I believed so hard that I made all this happen, but was it really me that made all of this happen? That's the ego that I try to stay away from at this point, is being the person that's like, it was all me. I did everything. I've kind of just, well, it was the universe that allowed me to write these songs or continue doing music for as long as I've been able to do it. It kind of keeps me from being a jerk and being unbearable, which I have been at many times in my life.
I think it's interesting to read songwriters' songs to them. Like, that's why I speak it out, because it's like, it's so different to have somebody else say the words you made. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I feel like when you read that first verse to me, I had all this ammo in my head from the car drive here. And then once you read it to me, I was like, what is that about? Oh my goodness. But it is kind of cool just to hear it from somebody else, because, you know, it's such a self-contained thing and especially this being the first time really performing this and even this is the first time I've ever discussed this song with anybody. So it's fun. It's cool. I enjoy it, and forgive me if I'm awkward, but I'm really having a lot of fun here.
You're doing a great job. You're really bringing up some interesting points. Well, on that note, I'll read the lyrics to the chorus, and then you can tell us a little bit about that.
Sounds good.
So the chorus goes, enough emotion. The love's not there. We both raised voices. What you're owed is out there.
So what that means to me and what it means literally are a little bit, you know, different. I could paint the picture of that time period and all that stuff, but it's very literal. That chorus is, I mean, enough emotion is basically what I'm saying in this chorus is that there's been so much drama, so much emotional turmoil that it just needs to end. The relationship needed to just be over. Instead of constantly prodding or hurting each other in whatever way, because this isn't the type of song where I'm like, my heart's broken and it's your fault. This song is almost like admitting, hey, like, I was wrong, you were wrong, we both messed up, and you deserve better. You know, you deserve something else. And that's kind of the theme of the whole song, is very much just that back and forth of, was it my fault? Was it their fault? Was it both of us? Was this the right thing? And I mean, I think we both raised voices, I think, is one of the first times in any song where I've actually admitted that, hey, I was wrong, not just blaming the other person. And I think as a songwriter, it's kind of hard to, like, songwriting's like my safe space where I can just vent. It's like therapy where you can vent with no consequence. But I think as I've gotten older, I think accepting a little bit more accountability, I think, is healthy. And I think that's a big part of what this chorus is saying, hey, I'm sorry, but you gotta go, I gotta go, this is getting bad. And yeah, this song is about a pretty heavy time in my life, and it was weird. It was just during COVID times, and it was almost trauma bonded with somebody. And you know, I'm an optimist all the time, and I really, really wanted this thing to work out. But all the signs were pointing to, hey, this isn't good. This isn't healthy. But as anyone in an unhealthy relationship is, you can't see it when you're in it. You can only see it when you're out of it. Hindsight's 20/20. But it's crazy to me that I wrote this song during it and couldn't admit it to myself. It's just, this is a really special song to me. It really is.
That's beautiful. I love the amount of self-reflection in what you just said.
Well, thanks. It's been hard for me to hold myself accountable over the years. You know, you grow up playing music, being on the road. You know, you live a life with almost zero responsibility. You're in a different city every night. Someone's ordering food for you. You know, it's like everything's kind of paid for. And I tried to always treat people with respect, although I may have failed at times. But as an adult, I'm a grown man. You know, when I started touring, I was 16. So it's been a long time since then. I've had a lot of time since that relationship has ended, since I moved away and came back and spent time in a new era of Walkney. I've really had a lot of realizations that, you know, I'm not perfect and I'm not, you know, God's gift to the world. And a lot of these things that happened were my fault. It's not just things go bad because everyone else sucks. It's like everyone has a hand in a little bit of everything. It's a culmination of all these different events happening. And I think if you can hold yourself accountable, I think it's really important, because there's some people who go their whole lives blaming everyone else for all their problems. And that's why this song is so important to me, because it is kind of like, which is hard for me to admit I'm wrong, but it's kind of me in somewhat of an underhanded way admitting like, hey, I wasn't perfect. And growing up thinking you're immortal, you can get humbled real quick, and I've had to come to terms with that fact. It's worth it though, growing pains.
One thing, like, we've spoken several times now, and my overall takeaway of like you as a person and as a conversational partner is that you have a great mentality. You have like a really healthy outlook, and one someone could probably strive for. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Like keeping such a healthy mentality?
Well, it wasn't always that way. I think so. Where I was I was 14 years old, and I decided I was going to start a band with all my best friends. Started a band, gained a bunch of popularity, toured all over the country when we were kids, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. Just got everything we ever dreamed of. All of my dreams that I had when I was a kid all came true. So I had this mentality that I could do anything and nothing was ever going to stop me. Then I started Walkney, and that was way harder. And it went from having a full support system with 3 other dudes in a band, managers, booking agent, like all that stuff, to just me, and I was alone. So I thought there was no way I could ever get through that. But I knew that I had made a promise to myself, and that everyone else was counting on me to go and make it, whatever that meant, at that time. But I was still a kid. I thought I was all grown up, 21 years old. I'm already an adult because I spent so much time on the road. But I was still so young, and I couldn't see it because I was living in that ego. I couldn't, step back and see that I had so much in front of me. So I went through a lot of really hard times, struggling to kind of get Walkney off the ground, and struggling with, just, all the getting into the throes of what touring lifestyle is like. And through the years, I kind of found myself looking for balance, because all I'd done since I was 14 years old, it was music, only music. That was my entire life. That was my entire identity. And then when things weren't going well, it was like my world was shattered. I wasn't good. It wasn't my music wasn't good enough, or my business, quote unquote, isn't doing well. It's I am worthless. And so it was some serious dark times, and I had to go through that time. And it's, the entertainment industry is a roller coaster. And I kind of just was like, you know what? I got to do this because I love it, not because I want to be successful or because other people want me to do so. I have to do this because I love it, and it's a great release for me. And when I do that, which is the reason that I started doing it in the first place, then good things will happen. And so I've kind of tried to relieve a lot of the pressure on myself through finding other things that are keeping me balanced out. Because before, it was all music. I had no other hobbies. There was nothing else that I would do. And so when I wasn't doing music, I was like, who am I? What is this? So I found myself, finding my way back into things like action sports, which is a big part of why I started a band. I would go skateboarding outside of this church where they had shows, and that's kind of how I found my way into the music scene. So now I think I have this mentality because I value my sanity more than anything else, because I've watched myself go through the ringer time and time and time again. and I protect that. And it's scary. The music industry, like talking about the music industry, not just like the local community here. I spent a lot of time out in California and touring, so I met a lot of different people that could give me what I wanted, so I thought, and that never seemed to happen. So I really just started believing in myself and only comparing myself to myself in the past, rather than comparing myself to other artists or my heroes or other people's idea of me. I started looking at myself and saying, okay, how many shows did you do last year? Or how many songs have you written? Or how can I get better? Or it's supposed to be an exploratory thing. It's art, songwriting. And I just kind of look at it as like, okay, there's not a time limit here. This is going to be my life's work.
That's beautiful.
And just have fun and just let it rip. Because I'd rather be like a musician that is enjoyable to be around, that's not as intense, than like the guy that's like, we have to make it by 18 or else we're worth nothing. Because that's what I thought. I'm like, oh, my favorite band got signed at 17. If we don't make it, we don't get signed by 17, like we're done. That's another thing. Making it, so to speak, is so different than what people think. People think, oh, I've made it. I live in Beverly Hills. I drive a Ferrari. Like, so I've already made it in my mind. I get to do what I love. There's people like you that want to hear about it. There's people that care so much about my creativity, and people have tattoos of my handwriting on them and stuff like that. It's like 16-year-old me would kill to be in this position. So I just try to put things in perspective for myself every once in a while. And if I start to feel down on myself, I get a piece of paper out and I just start writing down accomplishments, things that I've had. And it really makes me grateful. I think that's the key thing, is that I stay extremely grateful and I look at every opportunity like it could be my very last. That's what helps me the most.
Wow.
Yeah. Thanks for the free therapy, by the way.
It's free. I'm not qualified.
Neither am I. I don't even know if I'm qualified to speak about myself. This is wild. This is like the deepest interview I think I've ever done. So thank you. This is so cool.
Thank you so much. I was a person that found it very hard to relate to people. And obviously in most circumstances like that, people dive into music, and I got super into watching music documentaries. So like whenever I listen to music, I want to know about it. You know what I mean? So I've been so overwhelmingly blessed to be able to create this and then have people like you, as talented as you and as talented as the other people that came onto the podcast. I'm a songwriter. I try to do music, but I'm not, that's not the main thing for me. So it's been absolutely beautiful for me to be like, even though I don't feel like I'm at the same place these people like you are, it's been so awesome to be able to talk to them and like look across the table and be like, oh my gosh, like tell me about that lyric. You know what I mean?
Thanks for having me. I mean, that's how I grew up watching band DVDs and being like falling so in love with the behind the scenes and the whys and the hows myself. And I think being able to kind of see that, visualize it, really gives you even more drive and more inspiration to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Because you see, oh, these are just people and it's possible. They're not some magical being that came down from the stars. It's like, this is some dude from New Jersey that just like got real sad and wrote a bunch of songs about it.
Yeah.
And people somehow fell in love with it and just never gave up. I think the commonality between a lot of people that really quote unquote make it or become successful or do it, in whatever, they just don't give up, because you'll never get anywhere if you stop. It's like you have to just keep doing it, whether in whatever capacity, whether it's one show a year or you write one song as long as you just keep it in your mind and say, I'm not gonna be one of those I used to people.
Or I want to.
Yeah, I want to.
gonna do
Yeah,
it.
you just
Yeah.
have to do it. The second that you start making excuses, oh, I can't do that because I have kids now, or I can't do that because I have a real job. You can do music and be an artist
Yeah.
no matter what.
And you
There's-
don't have to be it in the, like, I'd say you're a pretty traditional sense of the word artist. If someone were to think of a music artist, they'd probably think of someone like you.
Thank you. So
But-
long hair and ear piercings isn't.
No, I mean, like, you're playing regular shows.
Yeah.
You're trying to release music. You're releasing music videos.
Yeah.
But for someone like me that's like, I've been writing songs since I was like 14 as
Yeah.
well. And, but I didn't pursue that. My mom always told me that that couldn't be plan A. So I never made it plan A, but I never let it die.
Yeah, don't.
And
Don't ever let
here
it
I
die.
am, like, doing a podcast, being
Yeah.
able to. And I know full well I'm not as experienced as the people that come on, but I still try and put my heart out there. And
Yeah.
I think, why not?
Don't
you know,
let
like,
anything stop you. I've heard your stuff. You're awesome. It's like all you would have to do
That
is
comes a-
just
that means a lot
decide.
from you.
That's what it is. You just make the decision. I mean, I sucked when I first started. Like when I say I was bad. Sorry, Grandma. I was really horrible. I was not a good vocalist. I didn't have natural talent. I've always been the type of person that has to work 10 times harder to get half as good. But I had it in my head. I was like, I'm going to do this. I absolutely love doing this. It's just so much fun. And I get to do this with my friends, which is kind of why it was hard when I went solo, because it wasn't about the communal effort anymore. It wasn't
Yeah.
about shared experience. It was kind of became all about me, which I didn't really like at first. And still, it's kind of weird when it's all eyes on me and not having it be for a greater purpose. But I just made the decision. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to be. And when I start to feel crappy about my music, I will also, instead of just writing stuff, I'll listen to my old stuff and listen to the gradual progression. But seriously, just put it out there. Like, don't ever let anyone tell you that you can't. I mean, if it's not plan A, that's one thing. But don't ever let anyone tell you you have to stop, because it's something you can do forever.
yeah.
You know?
And there's no, like, I don't believe that there's one way to define success.
No.
You know?
There is
So-
not. Yeah, and the record label industry and all that stuff is like on its way out, and everyone's trying to figure out, what's the next way. And I think the best thing you can be is authentic. Just be yourself, put it out there. Who cares what people think? Because people are always going to have something negative to say. You can't even watch a Star Wars movie without everyone hating it anymore. So
Yeah.
it's like, people just sit at home and just hate on stuff because they don't have the outlet to express themselves creatively, I guess.
Yeah. Or, like, the patience to just be okay with someone else.
Yeah,
Well, we should get into the next line.
let's do it.
So, verse 2 goes, "Did I buy you time? Was it make believe? And I know you're fine. What about me? You had me on a line. I thought that you cared. When I needed mine, it was not there."
Ooh, it's my favorite part of this whole song, actually. It hits me heavy still to this day to think about, because it kind of just transports me right back. But the second verse is really about just feeling like just unrequited love, like putting everything you have into something. You had me on a line, like dancing on a tightrope, and just that not being reciprocated. There's nothing worse than feeling like you do anything for somebody, but knowing that they wouldn't do the same.
Mm-hmm.
And generally, I mean, second verse is kind of just about feeling used, just kind of used up and thrown away, like never even mattered. And I think it works with the first verse in a way where it's almost like they should have been swapped, because the first verse is very much about how everyone goes through stuff and everyone has problems. The second verse is more about, hey, like, I feel mistreated. I feel like I'm not getting what I need. but really, the first verse kind of explains why. It's like because everyone's going through something. Everyone's having trouble with something, and maybe they don't want to share it. And that communication isn't always there, and sometimes that comes out in fireworks. It's a fight, or we both raise voices, kind of thing. But yeah, that second verse, I don't know, it just puts like a frog in my throat just to hear you say it out loud, because it's definitely a feeling where I never want to feel that again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just, not everything is right for everyone. You go through life and things don't work out because they're not supposed to work out. And if you can learn to accept that, then there's so much more out there for you. And that kind of leads into the chorus as well, as what you're owed is out there. It's this song, I'm talking from a first person perspective, but that's really kind of just a general, if you look at it as a general statement for this song, and this isn't my personal experience, it's just a, observation. Sorry, I'm getting like a little bit, that second verse really hits me every time. But yeah, it's definitely about putting everything that you have into something and just it not being reciprocated. That's really it at its face value. And yeah, I'm really happy to be able to share this song because it kind of feels like a moment of closure in a way.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, thanks.
Kind of on that note, being a songwriter gives you the opportunity to like create something immortal.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a couple songs that are about relationships gone wrong, and it's interesting to think of how something so personal to you is tied to a person that's not in your life anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever think that songs are a way of staying connected or to that person, or is it just like only the inspiration, like they're only the inspiration? You know what I mean?
Well, I think no matter what, it's going to bring back memories of a specific situation. But I think the key is, at least for me, I feel like a lot of stuff is applicable throughout life in general. I think that's sometimes those are the best songs where you're like, oh, this isn't just this one situation. It could apply to, it's a lesson almost. It's a reminder in a way of how not to be, or a reminder of something positive, but yeah, I mean, it is hard to separate the inspiration from the actual situation sometimes, but I think I'm not exactly sure how the best way to answer that, but I think
just like, it's something I think about
sometimes.
sometimes.
Over time, I think that it becomes less and less about that specific situation and just becomes more of a kind of a testament to a time or a feeling in someone's life. And I just hope that people who go through people who are going through things that I was going through during that time period can read those lyrics, hear that song, and know that they're not alone in that situation and that it's not the end for them. They can hear that and think, oh, someone else who, someone else has been through this and they made it out the other end, so I can too.
Yeah.
That's kind of what my hopes are, right? Things like that. I mean, I don't write music to try to be relatable to people, but when it's a song like this, or songs in the past, people have told me that they related to it, that makes the pain a little bit easier to shoulder, and it gives the song a new meaning. Instead of being about, oh, I was in so much pain and this hurt me so bad, it's like, oh, I'm helping now. It kind of, in a weird way, just gives a new meaning to that entire experience as a whole. It's like, okay, I got through that and I'm past that, and here we are today. So let's learn from it and grow.
The last episode that we did, which was the first episode of this season, I played my song "Love's Not Enough," and the one time I was playing it out, and someone came up to me and was like, "Oh my gosh, I like you're saying something I'm really going through right now," and I was like, because I kind of knew the emotion behind it, I was like, "Are you okay?" like let's sit down or something.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have the opportunity to sit down with him, but I was like, like I thought about him for days then, because I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't want you to relate to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've had some friends who have been through some really horrible relationships and stuff like that. And it's kind of, I was listening to Jimmy Mowry's episode, and he talks about being kind of callous and like emotionally unavailable because of things he's gone through. And I tend to find myself in those situations at times. But I don't know if this is really funny, but a friend of mine was going through a really rough breakup, so I just sent him this song. I was like, hey, man, I've been there. Like, it's going to be all right. I told you so. But, no, it's good that, people can vocalize their pain through songwriting, and that it can help other people. That's I think the greatest thing about music is it's a language that unifies people in so many ways. It's just out of this world, really.
Yeah, that's awesome. There's a sort of raw emotion in your voice that paints your lyrics with more depth. Do you center your vocal ability when writing? Like, how does it mix in to the overall song? Does the sound of your expression influence the message you express?
That's a good question. I feel like depending on how I'm writing the song, the sound of my expression can change the message, or if I'm scatting something and it sounds like I'm saying something I might write lyrics to that in a different way. But I kind of look at it as, when I'm doing vocals, as I'm performing the lyrics, I'm telling the story. So for this song specifically, it's like okay, this is a sad song. If I had written it, like wrote the lyrics out before, I'd be turning all the lights down, some red wine, lighting some candles, and just putting myself into the feeling that I was in when I was in the situation that the song is about. So I try to use my voice as a tool to convey the emotion behind the lyrics, because I don't want to be like singing a song that's really sad and be like, yeah, and everything is sad, yeah, kind of like campy. And I try to fully embody the words as I'm singing them, because it's tough because I write songs in so many different ways, but I do think that the vocal performance itself is kind of, it depends on the lyric, and I think that it should accentuate what the lyrics are. It should, if it's a sad, emotional lyric, you should sing it like that's how you're feeling it. But I mean, there's no rules, but that's just how I like to do it. I really want to push that emotion with my voice at the end of the day, because that's my main tool, is my vocals. But I don't know, there's other bands and stuff, like if you listen to Third Eye Blind, they're singing some of the saddest songs ever, and it sounds like a happy song. But coming from that emo background, I always kind of, it was like you're telling the story. Your voice sets the tone. The instrumental does as well, but your voice is really kind of the icing on the cake.
That's awesome. I think everyone can hear, like, it's almost like your voice resonates before the words do.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, at least, I'm like, I feel it before I hear it. You know what I mean? At least for like singers, like that are, you can tell they're like, it's coming from a deep part in their like.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Amy Winehouse for that reason. Like just the way she sings and she's emphasizing things, like she plays something up or bring it down for a certain lyric. It's almost like you're an actor and you're delivering the script. You know, she does that or did that in such a way that, man, it hits me still. I'll listen to some of her records over and over and over and over again, but it still hits me because it just the way that it's pushed through, or the way that she kind of comes up and backs off with the lyrics, just really conveys that emotion in a way that blows my mind and
Yeah.
breaks my heart.
Yeah.
You know, I appreciate all the nice things that you're saying. It's just so wild to like sit here and like talk about have someone like asking me questions about this kind of stuff, because it's not normal. Like, you know, this is a really, really cool interview style and everything. I really am grateful that you guys are having me. This is awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Seriously.
much. It really means something when you say something like that, like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, this interview it's very interesting, you know?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, after this verse, you play the chorus again and wrap up the whole song with the line, "Please don't waste my time." This line is sort of an inverse of "Did I buy you time?" Or at least that's how I took it in the second verse. There is a sort of tension between the emotion of this line and the rest of the song. It feels like the first time you're really protecting yourself in the song. Like the whole song, you're feeling like you're trying to understand the other person. And of course, this is my interpretation. And here you're kind of defending yourself. So, like, why did you choose to end the song like this?
Well, I guess what the "please don't waste my time" is, it's not so much like me being like, get away from me. It's like, please let me be wrong about the fact that this is wrong. Please just give me the reciprocation that I want. Please just let this all be okay. Let this all work out. Don't let all of this fighting and all of this nonsense be for nothing. So that's kind of what it means to me. But at the same time, I look back and I'm like, my time, I mean, time is the biggest, you know, it's your biggest asset. It's your biggest enemy in life. You know, you only get so much of it, and how you spend it means everything. So saying, please don't waste my time, is kind of, for me, being in that situation, I was just like, okay, I'd been in other relationships where I felt like, okay, it's been 4 years and then it's over. And that hole that is left in your soul is just unbearable. So that line is kind of me like begging, like, please don't let this be over. It's like that same kind of theme of like being in a toxic relationship. Not really trying to use buzzwords, toxic, but being in a relationship that's not necessarily 100% healthy. We are going back and forth between I love you and I hate you. It's like, please just let it all work out, like a storybook ending. But at the same time, like you said, it's like, if you don't want this, then just tell me.
Yeah.
And then it can be over and I can begin the healing process.
Like, you have to like protect yourself in a sort of way. Like when I heard it the first time, I was like, the word please obviously stuck out. You're not like, don't waste my time. You're like, please, like, if this isn't happening, you need to let me know. Like,
yeah, but with that, that's what it is. But also with that, like, kind of, but please, like, can this happen? You know, it's like, I don't want this to be over, but we both know that this is supposed to be over. But because that's kind of really what it is. It's like, it was about a time where neither of us wanted it to be done, or it didn't seem like it, but we both did at the same. It was just such a cop out. It was like, okay, this isn't good, but at the same time we're codependent or wanted it to work out, but all of the things that needed to be there in order for it to work out, it just wasn't lining up. And that's just the sad fact of dating and relationships, is that not every relationship is meant to work out. Sometimes they're just meant to be there to teach you something. And I think, when you're younger, it's like you end up going on hating that person. But
Yeah.
I think it's important to kind of, once you're out of it, to look at it and be like, okay, that was just meant to teach me this. And these are the things that I no longer have room for in my life. But that doesn't mean that that other person is the worst person on planet Earth.
Yeah.
And if you hold hatred in your heart and that negativity, that doesn't help anybody. It just sits inside you and festers, and then you deteriorate.
That's kind of how I took it. Like, there's this kindness to this song where it's like you're kind of just trying to understand, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it feels like you're just trying to you're going between justifying and coming to terms with something.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
what you said earlier about it being like you felt like the first verse was general. It's like, well, everybody has problems. Everyone has stuff. And then you
Mhm.
get into like, oh, like, are you just like biding your time? And then
Yeah.
like you're like, okay, wait, you need to
Yeah.
like we need to like figure this out or
Yeah,
something.
exactly. I mean, that's it. I mean, just that second verse just is very much like, okay, like, are you playing me? Are you just gonna betray me? Is there something wrong with me? And it kind of, all of it, obviously it's a song and it all ties in together, but I think the chorus is really the most like, this needs to be over. It's the most like realistic part of the entire song. But then the verses are kind of that it is like that back and forth of being in a relationship where you're having trouble. It's like, okay, I am suffering in this way, in this way, in this way. But then, like you said, kind of justifying it to yourself, being like, oh, but they were having a bad day, or
Yeah.
maybe I was being a jerk. But at the end of the day, some things just are not meant to work. And no matter how much you try to force it, that's just not what the universe has for you.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Anyone who's listening, anyone out there who's going through a heartbreak, like, it gets easier. You just need time. You need to focus on yourself. Maybe write a song, maybe write 10 songs. But, it's not, the world isn't over just because of something that happens in your life. One instance. Life is short, but also life is long. There's so much out there, so much in the world. And, if you don't go through a little bit of trouble, then you'll never grow. You'll never have the appreciation for something really great when you finally find it. I feel like I'm grateful for all of the lessons that life has thrown my way, for all the relationships that didn't work, or for the friendships that dissolved, or because then it just, life goes on and you learn from it, and sometimes those things come back. But if not, then it wasn't meant for you. And you have to be okay with a little bit of, some people are only in your life for a season.
Yeah.
That's all right. And just wish everyone the best, and everyone's going through stuff. So
Yeah.
everyone's a person and they all have their own individual experiences. So you just have to kind of accept that.
There's this song by Fiona Apple, who I love Fiona Apple. It's called Ladies. Have you ever heard it?
Ladies, I don't think so.
Well, basically in it, she's talking to her ex-boyfriend or ex-husband's girlfriend, and she's just like, no love is better than any other love. It would be a shame to make a comparison. She's basically saying, like, we don't have to be mad that our people moved on and like that relationships happen. Like, there's a dress in the closet, don't get rid of it, you look good in it. I didn't fit in it, it was never mine, it belonged to an ex-wife of another ex of mine, she left it behind.
Oh, wow.
With one line, I don't know if I'm coming across, but I'm really trying, it was really kind. But I don't know, it's just like this beautiful song that made me like think of relationships and this, like, we can just be happy that that person might move on to something that works, because we didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I'd never wish ill on people. I mean, I've been through enough in my life and been tortured by different life experiences that are not relationship related, that I'd never wish emotional turmoil and unhappiness on anybody. I want everyone to be able to find what they need and get what they want and be happy and at peace. That's all I ever want for people, because I know what it's like to be unhappy. I know what it's like to feel like you're not enough, or things are never going to work out for you, but it does eventually. And it might work out for a while, and then it might get ripped out from under you, and such is life. You just got to enjoy the journey. It's like going back to you talking about how do I maintain a mentality that I have, and that's it. You just got to look at life as like, okay, you just got to take it as it comes and roll with it. It's going to be ups and downs, but shout out to my dad, always says growth occurs in the valleys. So those lows, when you go through those lows, there's some highs coming. You just got to know how to ride them.
I really appreciate how deep you're going in this podcast. I really appreciate that you came out. We need to kind of get to the end.
Okay.
So there's a question I ask all of the artists that come on. What piece of advice could you give a fellow songwriter?
Share your music with the world. It doesn't need to be perfect. People love to watch you grow. It does not have to be perfect. If I look at my career, my biggest regret is that I didn't put out more music through my 20s. I have so much music, and if I would have just shared it as I went, there would have been a lot less stress on me. So yeah, it's like, show your progression. It doesn't have to be this Grammy award-winning producer doing all of your songs. There's nothing stopping people now from putting music out and sharing it with people. You never know what people could attach themselves, or what people will become attached to. So I say just share your music with everyone that you possibly can, and be your own biggest cheerleader, because people aren't going to believe in you unless you show them that you believe in yourself. That's my advice. Put it out. Put it all out there. Don't be like me.
Like, on that note, you have a lot of things coming out this year. Could you talk about that?
I'm really excited. So I had an album that I called Creature of Desire, and that was songs like Tourniquet, Take Me.
I'm a creature of desire.
All those songs, Emotion. And so those are, I was advised, because I don't have a ton of listeners yet, to just put those out as singles. So I'm going to be putting all those songs out as singles. And then I'm working on an album right now. I don't have a title for it. And my goal for the album is probably like fall. The songs are written. It's just a matter of, and most of them are recorded. It's just a matter now of selecting which songs. So that's going to be happening. Going to be doing a bunch of festivals over the summer. Emotion is going to be coming out April 14th, I believe. I think it's the second Tuesday of April. And I'm actually doing a reunion show with my old band May 30th. So lots of stuff coming up. Yeah. I'm really, really excited. Shooting some more videos and just, trying to chug away on the short form content and just keep doing it, just not stop. That's the goal for 2026, is just to keep it rolling and keep enjoying it.
I think that's a good goal. I think we should all have that goal. Keep going.
Most definitely. Yeah, don't ever quit. Don't quit.
On that note, Walkney has a lot of great music videos out on YouTube and songs out on Spotify and such. So don't worry, we'll have it all linked in the description, and we will also have an article written about him on our website. So check out our website. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me. This was a blast. I appreciate you.
This was awesome.
For real, all of you. You guys are all great. So a little round of applause for the crew here. Just
Woo!
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, for real.
Thank you so much.
Peace.
Peace.